I'm okay with having a more slower and controlled sort of growth because I get to keep my hands on everything. We don't have to worry about making deals with the devil or anything like that. And
Right.
yeah, I tell people all the time, sure, in the last couple of years, we have made a lot, like almost $10 million. I probably turned down more money than I've made because I've had that
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to work with this company and work with that company, get this investor and get that investor. But because I'm a little bit stubborn, but also I want to remain independent, I don't do that. Other folks, and then maybe that's what happened with Shift Up, right? It's like you develop the game on your own. You'll
Right.
for sure you'll see a lot of
Right.
success. But
Right.
imagine if it's fucking Sony, right? It's PlayStation that's in on it. You're going to be way up there. So people are willing to make those concessions. And I think that that's a very, very important thing that you have to consider. If you are entering into entertainment, doesn't matter whether it's comics, publishing, gaming, doesn't matter that you're not going to be able to be see eye to eye with the big dogs initially. And to me, there's no problem with that. But I think those that are more obsessed with like the fame and maybe even the monetary stuff that comes with
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
they'll sell out to whoever, and that's always gonna
And you
it's
got to
gonna
be able to pick your battles.
comes with
Because
a price.
I use me as an example.
Yeah.
Like as a writer, writing several things. If I was to write Diversity University and it got big and somebody came and wanted to pay $10 million for it, go on, you can have it. Whatever y'all do to the show. But when it comes to the book that I'm writing, you can't touch it. When I'm the actual
Yeah, a lot of
book I'm
artists do
writing,
that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of artists will do that. They'll work on like a main thing for money, and then they'll work on their own like real thing.
Yeah,
And,
like I got several projects that if somebody wanted to buy, boom, you can have it. You can put as many gay characters and you can do whatever you want to do to it. And while all the fans complaining, I'm gonna be over here counting while I work on the actual project, my baby. You know what
exactly,
I'm saying?
a lot of people do that.
Exactly. So
And I wanted to add, it's funny that these people, the game journalists that watch us, they call us gatekeepers. They always accuse us of gatekeepers, but they only want to work for the literal gatekeepers that hold the doors, that will let them into like the big doors, like what Eric was saying. They don't want to do the work of step by step. Yes, it's slow. Yes, it's painful at times, but you learn to master your skill every step of the way, so that you're real.
And it's more liberating, bro. It's more fun. It's more liberating to do it your own. I speak from experience, man, and even with my band, and we saw the success that we were able to see just doing it independently. Yeah, I'd much rather have a smaller, tighter knit community or support group that I know is going to rock with me for me than just having to play by all of these rules and be a miserable creator. Look, that's the reason why a lot of people, especially in the content creation space, when you see these bigger content creators, they're like, man, I gotta fucking take a month off. Why? Because they're playing fucking pretend, man. And that's what happens when you have to play, you gotta play ball. Like you have to be someone that the audience needs you to be or your sponsors need you to be, which isn't yourself. And that's exhausting. So just from the creative perspective, I wouldn't recommend anybody go that route. I think it's far more liberating. It's far more rewarding as a creative. It might be slow and controlled, though, and you have to be prepared for that.
Lord,
I'm just curious. You're a comic guy. I'm a comic guy. Like, how much of an influence that was like Rob Liefeld and McFarlane and the Image comics? Like, how much of an influence was it, and the mistakes that they made? Because you've seen McFarlane rise to the top, fall right back down, then go right back to the top end, fall again. Like you've seen these guys, Rob Liefeld, same thing. How much of an influence was it for you? And like, have you even contacted them about the mistakes financially?
I NDA my stuff if I answered the latter question. But I will say this much. Absolutely, particularly with McFarlane, right? Mainly with what he was doing with the toys, which kind of came full circle, right? Because now DC and those guys go to him. Hasbro's now going to him. When if you remember in the '90s, he came out fucking swinging. He was like, "Look, I'm doing it my way. I don't care about how everybody else is doing it. We're gonna do it our way." And I think that there's a lot of inspiration that comes from that. Just that line of thinking where, sure, it's an uphill battle, of course. When you have the established channels, the proper channels as people would deem them, that you're having to compete with, it is going to be a tall order to be able to, especially in that day and age when they didn't have like internet and all that was really kicking off. It can be very difficult, but seeing that it is very much doable is nothing short of inspiring, at least for me. And also, again, to your point, learning from the mistakes. I think a lot of what happened with, and still is happening right now with a lot of independents, I think people are, going away from it now that crowdfunding and other elements have been introduced. But I've complained about the direct market for a very long time. It makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Like, I can't make, nobody can. As far as, I'm not actually convinced that Marvel and DC as the publication. I'm not talking about the toys or movies. I'm talking about publication. I'm not convinced that they've ever been in the green or in the black.
No,
I'm not convinced that they've ever been able to make money, like profit solely off of their publication. I think some of that has to do with how comics are distributed. When you have two middlemen trying to make everybody's getting their greasy hands on trying to make money on that comic. None of it makes any sort of sense. So that was part of what I learned from it as well. It's like, don't replicate the mistakes that they made, to answer your question for sure.
Well, and people
It's
don't
like
realize,
records.
Like,
Guys, time out.